So people have a lot of questions. What really happened with Snow White? And is there somebody that we can blame? Yeah, I mean, it's about a love story because that's what the point of the film is, and I'm sorry that chivalry in a man pursuing you is now deemed as stalking, which now it's kind of making sense why men are opting out of the dating scene.
You don't have to make men seem emasculated and puny to make women seem strong, and you don't have to eliminate them altogether, as this actress has actually suggested.
But the problem is that Disney fundamentally isn't capable of making anything that is truly non-woke anymore.
The actress's race and the crackhead dwarves have become the least of my concern. So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White and Disney, women can't even want to be in love anymore. That was back in the 30s when women actually wanted to be around men, actually wanted to be in love. Like, Nat, Disney, have you ever considered that your fairy tales have actually stood the test of time because they are always relevant, because that is what a fairy tale is, because they have timeless, universal values and lessons that any person, regardless of their age, regardless of their generation, could connect to?
You won't believe who Disney just erased. 1 minute, she was the star of their biggest fairy tale. And now, she's gone, vanished from trailers, posters, interviews, like she was never part of the movie at all. And here's the wild part. Someone new might be taking her place. This story isn't just shocking, it's insane. It all started with Rachel Zegler. Disney picked her to be the new Snow White. She had the spotlight, she had the fame, she had everything. But now, she's nowhere to be found.
It does seem like the media have got the throw her under the bus green light, though, when we're posting things like this. We're slagging her off behind the scenes, we're dropping all the information, and then reminding you of, her attacking the majority of the population of America. When she posted F the Orange Man.
No more red carpet, no more interviews, no more Snow White, just silence. That alone would have been crazy. But what Disney did next, it shocked everyone. Insiders say they're not just replacing her, they're pretending she was never even in the movie. Like the Rachel Zegler version of Snow White never happened at all. And wait until you hear why. The internet exploded. Fans were furious. Videos, tweets, memes, everywhere. And through all that noise, one name kept popping up. Someone who might take her place. Someone Disney thinks is safer, bigger, less drama. You're not gonna believe who it is. Let's get into the story Disney hoped you'd never hear. Zegler's downfall began with her own words. In interview after interview, she critiqued the very story she was hired to lead.
You see yourself as the evil queen. You are not evil. You are not evil. You're a queen, but you're not evil. What was it like seeing yourself as the evil queen for the first time?
We did not see the clip.
She slammed the 1937 original Snow White, called the prince a stalker, and mocked the love story that defined Disney romance for generations. That alone created ripples. But what she said next, it turned those ripples into tidal waves. She criticized the film's messaging, publicly dismissed fan concerns, and took aim at Disney traditionalists. Social media exploded. Some praised her for being real, but others, especially longtime fans, weren't having it. Still, Disney tried to weather the storm, but the backlash kept growing. Petitions demanding her removal surged. Comment sections turned brutal. And here's where things really started to spiral.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because like we cast a guy in the movie, right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. It's one of those things that I think everyone's gonna have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be.
Zegler didn't stop. She doubled down. On social media, in interviews, on TikTok, she kept pushing her message. Political commentary, sarcasm, defiance. And Disney? They had enough. Behind closed doors, studio execs debated, do we stand by her or save the brand? What they chose? A silent but sharp pivot. They stopped promoting her, scrubbed her from everything, soft-fired without a statement. But here's the part nobody saw coming. There was already someone waiting in the shadows. Brett Cooper. Remember that name. We'll come back to it.
You're crying on that stage.
When am I not crying in public? It's so upsetting.
Why were you crying?
Oh my gosh, I saw the well, we didn't even see. But I saw the logo and I went, that's my name. Snow White's up there.
Now this is where things get insane. Brett Cooper wasn't some random rising star. She had her own history with Snow White, and it's wild. Brett was cast to play the lead in Snow White and the Evil Queen, a retelling from the Daily Wire, a conservative media company. Their mission? To create a non-woke, traditional fairy tale to rival Disney's progressive remake. Brett was their star, their secret weapon. The teaser dropped, fans went wild, the internet took notice, and then everything imploded. Suddenly, Brett Cooper left the Daily Wire. Quietly, but noticeably, she unfollowed people.
I just wanted to go on this little baby rant about Rachel Zegler. She's the young woman that was cast as Snow White and has proven to be Disney's worst investment ever in the history of Disney investments. I mean, they've gone through various scandals with this girl.
Deleted key posts, even wiped a now famous wedding photo with her best friend and colleague, Reagan Conrad. That alone would have been suspicious, but wait until you hear what happened next. Reports leaked that Brett and the Daily Wire clashed badly. They wanted the film to be politically loaded, a cultural grenade. But Brett, she wanted magic, heart, timelessness, a story that everyone could enjoy, not just one side of a political aisle. Creative control became a war zone. Brett refused to compromise, and so she walked, just like that. But what she left behind was a massive vacuum. One the Daily Wire tried to quietly fill with Reagan Conrad. Yep, the very friend Brett deleted from social media. And when fans noticed the photo was gone, they lost it. That picture was more than just a friendship post. It was a symbol of loyalty, trust, and teamwork. And when Brett's mom started liking comments that called Reagan a backstabber, oh yeah, the drama was real.
Like, it was a really, really, really bad flop. Now, the things I do for you guys. I went to Snow White over the weekend. I took my kids. I'll tell you, I'm not sure who was more bored.
We'll circle back to that in just a second. Meanwhile, Disney was in full panic mode. Zegler was radioactive. Every time her name trended, it brought bad press. Executives needed a clean break, and fast. So, guess who fit the mold perfectly? Brett Cooper. It doesn't stop there. Brett wasn't just the opposite of Rachel Zegler. She was the antidote. Calm, collected, gracious, traditional. She brought the exact kind of energy Disney was now desperate to recapture. And then the rumors started. Fans began suggesting Brett as the new Snow White. Some even launched fan campaigns, AI mock-ups, hashtag trends.
So it sounded like they really liked it, which is really, really exciting. I saw the title card, which looked great. I got really emotional hearing everybody's reactions to it, which was really, really incredible. And so I feel very blessed to be a part of something that seems to be very important to a lot of people, including myself.
Suddenly, Brett's name was everywhere, and this time, it wasn't tied to the Daily Wire. Disney noticed. Insiders started whispering that Disney was seriously considering Brett as the new face of their revamped Snow White project. A fairy tale swap that could rewrite everything. And if you thought that was outrageous, hold on. Rachel Zegler, once poised to be the next big thing, now finds herself almost completely shut out. Other studios are backing away. Projects are stalling. Offers have slowed to a crawl. Hollywood, it seems, is hitting the pause button on her entire career. That alone is shocking. But what it says about the industry, even more, because now it's clear, in the age of TikTok, tweets, and interviews that never die.
It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But it's one of those things. So true, it's an inner journey that she goes on to find her true self, and she meets a lot of people along the way.
Studios aren't just looking for talent. They're looking for silence, safety, stars who won't go off script and drag an entire production into controversy. Zegler became the storm. Brett represents the calm. And if Disney really goes through with this casting change, it would be one of the most dramatic casting flips in modern movie history. Let's step back for a second. This isn't just about one actress replacing another. It's about a major studio doing a total 180, walking away from progressivism, from Gen Z edge, from political commentary, and walking back toward their roots, toward magic, simplicity, and yes, old school storytelling. The question is this a real change or just a business decision?
Oh my god, well, when you get to wear Sandy Powell, first of all, insane. And then you get to be lit by Mandy Walker and Nadia Stacey designed your hair and makeup. It's like the most incredible thing in the world. And then all of a sudden you open your eyes and you watch the playback, which I never do.
Because make no mistake, this is about survival. Disney's bottom line is on the line. And they're not just thinking about Snow White. They're thinking about what Snow White represents. A legacy, a brand, a multi-billion-dollar princess empire. Now here's where things get even crazier. Remember the Daily Wire's Snow White and the Evil Queen? That project is stuck in limbo. Brett was the face. Her contract was locked in. So when she left, legal chaos. They tried to pivot, maybe even recast Reagan as the lead. But fans weren't buying it. To them, Brett was the story. So what happens if she ends up leading Disney's version instead?
I love what you said about wanting to entertain audiences, critics saying Disney's too woke, but you're just putting out storytelling.
We are. Look, I don't really like the term woke because I think it's an umbrella term that I'm not 100% sure I even know what it means.
Talk about a plot twist. You won't believe who got involved. The fandom. Both sides. Conservatives, progressives, pop culture junkies, all watching closely. Every move, every post, every rumor fuels the fire. And now we're in a showdown. Will Brett Cooper become Disney's new Snow White? Or will this whole thing explode into an even bigger media war? Keep that in mind because it's important later on. Back to Brett's exit from the Daily Wire. There was one more twist. Her role in Mr. Burcham, an animated show, is now uncertain. She voiced a major character. With her gone, the show is dangling by a thread. Everything tied to Brett is in flux.
You know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
And yet, her star keeps rising. Because when one door closes, another opens. And for Brett Cooper, this new door might be Disney-sized. But there's one last question. Can Disney really escape the shadow of Rachel Zegler? That's the wild card. Because no matter how much they try to erase her, Zegler's time as Snow White is forever part of the story. And there are still loyal fans who want answers, not silence. Will she make a comeback? Or fade from the spotlight? We'll find out soon enough. But if there's one lesson to take from this Hollywood fairy tale turned drama, it's this. In today's world, being a Disney princess isn't just about acting. It's about branding, reputation, damage control, and surviving the internet. So whether Brett puts on that iconic red, blue, and yellow dress or not, one thing's for sure, Snow White has already made history, not for what happened on screen, but for the battle that exploded behind the scenes. And the story is far from over.